following findings of fact, conclusions of law, and recommendation. In the findings of fact, we find that Kylie Berg, the owner, currently owns rental property at 1407 Emter Street. We find that on June 18, 2021, the Wausau Police Department notified the owner in writing that the property was being declared a chronic nuisance premises. A citation was also issued in this notice for violation of Wausau Municipal Code Chapter 9.24.070. The owner appealed this decision pursuant to Wausau Municipal Code Chapter 9.24.070 sub H on July 13, 2021. The Public Health and Safety Committee sent out a notice of hearing on August 9, 2021 for a hearing to take place on August 16, 2021. An amended notice of hearing was sent out on August 11, 2021 for a hearing to take place on September 20th of 2021. Another amended notice of hearing was sent out September 16, 2021 for a hearing to take place today, October 18, 2021. On October 18, 2021, a hearing was held before the Public Health and Safety Committee at the City of Wausau City Hall located at 407 Grant Street in Wausau, Wisconsin, pursuant to Wausau Municipal Code Chapter 9.24.070 sub H for the purpose of hearing the above entitled matter, with the Assistant City Attorney Tara Alfonso appearing as prosecutor and the owner appeared by Kylie Berg with counsel Cal Tillage. On October 18, 2021, the Public Health and Safety Committee deliberated in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 paragraph 1 sub A and B with regard to the allegations contained in the complaint. Based upon the evidence received, the testimony of witnesses, and the arguments of the parties, the Public Health and Safety Committee finds as follows: that the owner denies that she had either actual or constructive notice that a nuisance was taking place. Owner denies that she maintained a chronic nuisance premise. On August 13, 2020, the owner owned the property. On August 13, 2020, the Wausau Police Department declared the property a chronic nuisance after Kira Parker, the tenant, was arrested on several drug charges. The owner informed the Wausau Police Department that the tenant was evicted shortly after this arrest. On June 17, 2021, with the property still being owned by the owner, the Wausau Police Department obtained a drug search warrant and arrested the tenant again for several drug charges, including but not limited to methamphetamine and marijuana. On June 18, 2021, the property was declared a chronic nuisance by the Wausau Police Department for the second time. While these two separate arrests violate Wausau Municipal Code Chapter 9.24.070, due to the nuisance activity being defined as possession, manufacture, or delivery of controlled substance or related offenses as defined in Wisconsin Statutes Chapter 961, based upon the response and immediate action of the evicting of the tenant by the owner, the committee does not believe this rises to the level of chronic nuisance contemplated by the Wausau Municipal Ordinance. The committee acknowledges that this case is fact-specific. In this instance, the committee disagrees with the determination that the property is a chronic nuisance, however, but notes any future nuisance activity or designations will not be tolerated and will be enforced. Based upon the above findings of fact, the committee hereby makes the following conclusions of law. This matter is properly before the committee pursuant to Wausau Municipal Code, Chapter 9.24.070, paragraph H. The owner has the burden of proving the allegations do not exist by a preponderance of the evidence. We find that the owner has met its burden of proof. By the greater weight of the credible evidence, the owner has not violated the Wausau Municipal Code, Chapter 9.24.070, in that the owner does not maintain a chronic nuisance premises. The Public Health and Safety Committee hereby rejects the declaration that the property is a chronic nuisance. Counsel for the committee is hereby directed to provide a copy of these findings of fact, conclusions of law, and recommendation to the owner and the city. And I'll sign the item today, and then this matter will be closed.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. And the clerk will provide copies. All right. We'll make the relevant copies, and you can take them along yet tonight. With that, we'll move into the rest of our agenda. Discussion and possible action on the flood evacuation plan for the Hollow neighborhood. On WebEx, we have Bill Hebert from our inspection department and Phil Rentmeester from emergency management, and they are here today to talk to us about a plan or a recommended plan for flood evacuation of the Hollow neighborhood on the south side of the city. Bill, did you want to start us off? Oh, hold on, we have to unmute Bill. Okay. No, we don't have, hold on, Bill, we don't have your audio.
No, we have you, Bill, but can you get closer to a microphone? You're really quiet. Bill, can you try again?
Okay. We still don't have Bill. Let's see if Phil's is any better. Phil, can you hear us here in the council chamber?
I can hear you.
Okay. Do you want to give us a little background on this item while we're trying to get Bill's audio going?
Sure. Let me give it a shot here.
Thank you.
A few years ago, we came to the committee with a flood safety plan, and the reason that we were bringing it forward was for public safety, of course, but we were also working with the Department of Natural Resources for the city of Wausau to develop a plan specifically for the certain area of the city of Wausau known as the Hollow, the neighborhood that's south of Thomas Street. The committee did approve the plan at that time, and we took it forward to the Department of Natural Resources. However, they rejected the plan at that time. They wanted to see a few more things added to it. Over the course of the last couple of years, we have made some revisions. We've made some improvements. We worked it out with our Department of Public Works, the Wausau Police Department, Wausau Fire Department. We've had a small exercise. We've had a meeting, and we plan on having a tabletop exercise again this winter. So what you have tonight in your package is our revised plan. However, it's focused on that one particular neighborhood. Nonetheless, we feel it's a solid plan that we'll use it for response throughout the city, but primarily the neighborhood plan is going to be going forward to the Department of Natural Resources. I'd like to see if Bill can get back on now.
Let's see. Bill, can you try it again? Let's see if we have your audio.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Better, much better. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. So, Phil summarized it pretty well. We've made this plan a little more specific to the Hollow neighborhood, and we have a lot of interest of redevelopment or reinvestment in the properties in this area. And I think everyone knows where that area is, but it's south of Thomas Street and west of or east of Cleveland in that down by DPW neighborhood. We have about 120 properties down there that are within the floodplain. And so they have limits on what they can actually do with reinvestment, not just because of their property, but also because the city streets are below the floodplain. And in most areas with our mapping technology, we're only 6-8 inches below the floodplain in our streets, but it would be impossible to raise the streets that high. It would flood a lot of the properties. And B, we're just not going to change that many streets. So the relief is that DNR grants municipalities is to do an evacuation plan for certain areas. And so we met with the police and fire department and also the Department of Public Works, the three primary groups that would do an evacuation in the event of a flood in this area. So again, after working with the DNR, we had some turnover at the DNR level. Working with some new folks, we've kind of crafted this plan to be a little more direct to the Hollow neighborhood. And it is still a general plan because, as Mr. Rentmeester points out, a flood could take a variety of shapes. If it's an ice dam or if it's a dam failure, the area that could be flooding could be different. So they're going to have to rely on the experts in those three departments to A, notify residents that a flood is could occur, and B, where they could go for shelter.
Okay. It does look like in reading the plan, at least having seen it the first time around, it does have a really good layout of the interaction and the collaboration that needs to take place both between departments and then between the various departments and residents in the area, depending on as the situation is unfolding, including initiation of the incident command structure if it becomes necessary. So it does look more detailed than what we got the first time around. I see your recommendation is that we adopt the plan?
Yes, that's our recommendation, is that we adopt it. We've had all three of those departments have reviewed this plan, and they find it solid and useful for them in the event of a flood.
Sure.
We also do plan, sorry, I don't remember if Rentmeester referred to it or not, but we're going to have tabletop exercises with these departments periodically just to refresh. As you know, staff has changed over the time too, so we want to keep everybody refreshed on what would happen in the event of a spring thaw where we get ice damming or something.
Sure. He did mention the tabletop practice, yes. Committee members, any questions for Bill or for Phil on the plan? If not, is there a motion to approve the plan? Okay, we have a motion to approve from Peckham. Is there a second? Second by Wadinski. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. Plan is approved. Thank you guys for hanging in there. I know it's been a long night.
Thank you.
Item number 5 on our agenda is to consider the complaint filed regarding Alan Waller doing business as 6th Street Pub and take possible action on issuance of a summons commanding Alan Waller doing business as 6th Street Pub to appear before the committee for a hearing pursuant to Wisconsin Statutes 125.12 and Wausau Municipal Code Section 5.64.076 to show why the Class B beer and liquor license should not be revoked or suspended. You've got a copy of the complaint in your packets, and it looks like, and we've been asking about this with our tavern status reports, about the status of 6th Street Pub, and it appears based on the interaction of the police department with the establishment, they've been closed for some period of time. And our ordinance, the ordinance that we call the abandonment ordinance, requires that they be open and remain open consistently. And given that the owner has been reticent to surrender the license, it is certainly possible that we could revoke that license because he is not open and has not shown any plan to open. Does anyone have questions on that for either of our city attorneys who've been working on this item? It looked like there was a lengthy log of extra patrol trying to verify over the last few months if the place was open or closed, and it's been closed every time. Pat, go ahead.
It seems to be pretty clear what the situation is, and I would move to pursue the course of action that would lead to a hearing that would possibly, where we would consider revocation or taking that license back.
Okay, we have a motion then to go forward with a hearing for revocation. Do we have a second? Second by Herbst. Further discussion? And we'll certainly poll for a hearing date to make sure that will be a special meeting, just based upon the evidence that needs to be presented and the testimony of witnesses. Sometimes those get a little long, and we, if we can avoid it, we try not to incorporate those into our monthly meetings so we can handle that separately. So we certainly will poll for a date on that. In fact, let me grab a calendar real quick, because it's, I believe
We should,
it's 10 days from the date of the notice, correct?
The statute requires that the hearing be not less than 3 days nor more than 10 days from the date of the issuance of the summons.
Correct.
Mr. Waller should be advised that all this is not necessary if he just wants to surrender it on his own.
I
He's
believe
been advised.
that has been already tried. I think the
Okay.
police department has spoken with him twice about
Okay,
that,
then
and he
on we
was
go. Thank you.
resistant. Okay, so 10 days from the issuance of the summons. Is it expected that the summons could be sent by the end of this week?
It could, certainly.
Okay. So then with regard to a special meeting, what is the, that would put us to the November 1st-ish, right? So we'd be into the last week of November? Okay.
What I say is maybe pick the date, and then we can work backwards for.
For the 10 days.
Issuance of the summons, right?
Okay. So would we have a quorum for November 1st, which is a Monday? Committee members, November 1st?
If it's the first Monday, I got Park and Rec at 4:30.
Okay.
That's what we wanted to have it after that.
Do you anticipate that meeting would run more than an hour if we'd schedule at 5:30?
If we know we got an hour, we can get done in an hour.
Okay. How about November 1st at 5:30, since the park committee would be here anyway? Okay, let's plan for November 1st at 5:30 PM in this chamber, and then we'll issue the summons accordingly, if that works, if we can agree by consensus on that date. Okay. That brings us then to, oh, and we need to take a vote on that, because we had a motion and a second. Members in favor of moving forward with the hearing signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That motion carries. Item number 6 is the operations report from the fire department for September of 2021, copies of which are in the report. Anybody have questions for Deputy Chief Kopp on the report? Anything notable on the report that you would like to discuss with us, Jeremy?
No, I think it's all pretty explanatory for that month.
Looks like a normal month. Okay, with that, we'll place the fire report on file. Item number 7 is tavern activities, compliance checks, and law enforcement activities. Copy of that report is in your packets as well. Anything you have questions about on the report for Deputy Chief Barnes? Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I've got the incident at Lopnose. Describes an intoxicated woman called 911 to report that she was taken to left nose against her will and needed to go home. Do we have any idea what that means?
I have a pretty good idea what that means. So the police department uses Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is technology used to...
Is it voice to text?
Yes. So my suspicion is that was a failure to proofread and catch that error.
So left nose is probably lop nose?
Yes, ma'am.
I see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to figure, I thought it was that dragon thing. I thought, taken to left nose, I don't get, okay, thank you. Very good.
Any additional questions on the report at all? Anything notable on the report that you want to talk with us about, Matt?
No, I think what's noteworthy is it's the second month in a row I've been here reporting there are no demerit points assigned. So that's a good thing in regards to those businesses operating. In other words, I think it speaks for itself.
It is a good thing. It means that the vast majority of our license holders get it right every day, and that's what we expect, and we're happy to see that. With no other discussion on the report, we'll place that report on file as well. That's the last item on our agenda. We do have the item for communications. Does anyone have communication? I don't. Okay, if not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion from Wadinski, second by Peckham. Members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nobody ever is. We'll stand adjourned. Thanks, everyone.